Right, it is finally time to do my World Cup group predictions as we're on the eve of the World Cup. Obviously, starting with Group A, I've got Czech Republic top. Obviously, they're in a good group with Mexico, South Korea, and South Africa. But I don't think the host will have enough to be above Czech Republic, and also South Korea. Like, they've only really got Son now. Like, they're a bit down from, the top team that they had over the past 5-10 years. Obviously, they've never been like a heavy hitter, but I think that's kind of been their golden generation. So I think Mexico will finish just ahead of South Korea, and then South Africa will be the ones definitely going out at the bottom there. Also, I don't know which teams in third are going to go through. I feel like that's too hard to predict because obviously half of them go through. I don't know how many points each team's going to get yet. Group B, now this one I found extremely easy to predict. Obviously in fourth we've got Qatar. Obviously they hosted the last World Cup and kind of showed nothing, so I'm not expecting them to show any more here. Canada, surprisingly, I put third. I could swap them either way with Bosnia. I do think Bosnia, I don't know what it is. I just feel like they're going to do well. Obviously, Dzeko's like 41 and he's their main, attacking outlet. But I don't know. I just feel like Canada's going to be disappointing. Alphonso Davies, who knows how long he can stay fit for. I still think Switzerland have got enough to be top. They've got Granit Xhaka still in elite form. Obviously, they're missing Shaqiri, which sucks. They've got Embolo coming. Apparently, there were some issues with his visa, but I think that'll be sorted by the time the World Cup starts. And Dan Ndoye's a bowler. Now, Group C, this is another great group. And a lot of the groups are really tight, I think, because of the new rules with the 46 teams. But I do have Brazil coming top of that one pretty easily. I think Morocco in second is nailed on. And I think Scotland, I know I just said I'm not going to predict which teams will go through. I reckon they should get enough to go through because they should get an easy win against Haiti. And then it's whether they can get a draw against Morocco or Brazil, which obviously Brazil is a lot more unlikely. But I reckon they could get a draw against Morocco and potentially, be one of those teams that goes through because I think 4 points will be enough. Haiti, cool to see them at the World Cup. Don't think they're going to do much, so they're fourth. Now, Group D is definitely one of the most, even groups at the Cup. Obviously, I'm going to bias Australia a little bit because I'm Australian, but I actually do think they'll go through, hopefully in second place, so that we get a bit of an easier team, which is where I'm predicting them to go, with Turkey first. I think obviously Turkey were the last team to qualify for this, but obviously it's a lot harder to qualify through Europe than some of the other continents. Just behind Australia, I've got USA. I actually do think they're going to be good, but, a little bit of bias, me putting them above them. And it's more, about that matchup between Australia and the USA, which I think whoever wins that matchup will end up being the one coming second. And if it's a draw, I still think we'll go through above them. And Paraguay, obviously not a bad team. It's just obviously in a tight group. Still got to pick somebody to come last. And for me, that's Paraguay. Now, Group E. A lot of people's dark horses obviously is Ecuador up the top there. Obviously, they've got one of the best centre-backs in the world in Pacho, and they have one of the best midfielders in the Premier League and potentially the world in Caicedo. So I think they could seriously cause some upsets, and this Germany team's not that good. So I've got Ecuador going into the top position just in front of Germany. With Ivory Coast, I also think that's a team who could make an upset, potentially even qualify above Germany, but I've got them third at the moment. And Croatia are definitely in fourth. I actually got the opportunity to see them play live against Australia, and they weren't bad, but compared to those other teams in that group, they've got two of the dark horses, Ivory Coast and Ecuador, and I doubt Germany's giving anything up to Croatia. Now, Group F, I genuinely found impossible to predict. I honestly could have had these teams in any positions, like Tunisia, definitely fourth, but besides that, Japan's not in their golden era anymore, neither are Netherlands. And Sweden, they've got Victor Gyökeres up front, so who's really, backing him to do the business? Although, sometimes these random strikers, I call him a random striker, he plays for Arsenal, but sometimes these random strikers have really good tournaments. Maybe he does that, but I highly doubt it. I don't rate him at all, which is interesting because I put Sweden first. If I could do this again, I would take that back, but I'm going to stick to it. I don't know what my thought process was when I put them there. We've got Sweden first, Netherlands second, Japan third, and Tunisia fourth. Now, Group G, we've got Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. I actually think Iran have a good team, very similar to Egypt, so I'm not 100% sure which one's going to come second there. I just edged Egypt, just because I think, look, they've got Marmoush, they've got Salah still, even though he's a bit washed. I think Marmoush is a brilliant player. And then obviously we've got Belgium top with New Zealand coming fourth. Look, Chris Wood could get a goal or two at the World Cup. I think that'd be really cool for him because I think he's an elite striker. But there's no way that they're not coming fourth in this. And obviously Belgium, a bit past their golden generation, of course, but compared to the other teams in that group, I'd be really shocked if they didn't finish first. Now, Group H, another tight group. Obviously Cape Verde coming fourth. That's crazy. But I actually think, if you think they're getting anything else, but I actually think Saudi Arabia and Uruguay are very close. I could not predict who's going to come second in that one. Just for a bit of a potential upset, I've got Saudi Arabia going above Uruguay there, going in second place. But I wouldn't be surprised if Uruguay got that position, and obviously Spain are going to finish first there. Now in Group I, that is another kind of group of death in this competition. I've obviously got Iraq coming fourth. Norway and Senegal I can't really decide between, but Norway have always been really disappointing in qualifying for World Cups and things. Obviously that can change at the actual World Cup, but you doubt it because it is going to be harder competition. So I've got Norway third, Senegal in at second. Obviously they just kind of won the AFCON, and I think they've got a very good team. So I'd be surprised if they didn't come at least top two here. And obviously the favourites for the competition, in my opinion, France, are going to be coming first. Group J, we've got Argentina, Austria, Algeria, and Jordan. I think Jordan's definitely coming fourth in this one, although I have seen a lot of times through watching them play in the World Cup qualifiers for Australia that Jordan love a time waste. So in fact the ball's not going to be in play for a lot of time in those games, and they might be able to salvage a draw somewhere, but they're versing very good teams, so I doubt it. Algeria and Austria is another difficult one. I've just got Austria above them. I think, look, Algeria, it's still kind of just Riyad Mahrez' team, which is a tough one to swallow when obviously he's, reaching the end of his career. Still a great player. Obviously, I haven't watched him play that much these past few seasons because he's been in Saudi Arabia. But I do think Austria have that little bit more to get above them. And obviously, Argentina first. Now, Group K. This one is another easy one. Got Portugal top. I think they're a little bit better. Well, their team is incredible. Because of the Ronaldo issue, I think that, they're only going to be a little bit better than Colombia. But if they can sort that Ronaldo issue out, they could genuinely go all the way to the final here. Colombia second, still got a good team, still got James going, which is cool. And then between Congo and Uzbekistan, I've just got Congo above Uzbekistan. I think it could go either way. Both, similar levels, both got decent defenses, but, not much else besides that. But I'd honestly say Congo's defense is a little bit better, even though Uzbekistan has Kusanov. I still think Congo's is a little bit better because they got a good partnership there in Mbemba and Tuanzebe. And Group L, the last one, return of the Youngs. I've actually got Croatia finishing top. Now, this is definitely a bit of bias because I loved Gareth Southgate and what he did for England. I know a lot of English people did, but still just the fact that he kind of felt forced out. I know he resigned. I think, England fans need to remember where they were before Southgate came in, and it really annoys me, that there was, maybe at least 50% of the fan base that didn't appreciate what he did and didn't think that he could take them to the next level. I think he deserved the chance to because he pulled them from a terrible team to being, one of the most, one of the stars of the World Cup again, a team that you actually back to go all the way, rather than when he came in, he had Eric Dyer and Jesse Lingard and he made it to the semi-finals. Now, I love Jesse, but starting for a World Cup powerhouse and getting to the semi-finals is not something that I think another manager could do. So yeah, for that reason, I just want them to kind of come second. Whether they actually will or not, who knows. Croatia, obviously they're old, and if they don't finish above England, I still think they'll come in second there. And then Panama and Ghana. Now, obviously a lot of people like Ghana. Some people I've seen have had Ghana as dark horses, but Ghana didn't even qualify for AFCON, so I'm kind of confused why everyone thinks they're going to be dark horses. Yeah, they've got a few good players, but clearly it's not gelling very well together. So I've actually got Panama coming above Ghana. I wouldn't be surprised if Ghana come above them with that quality, but there's clearly some issues going on in that team that they couldn't qualify for AFCON. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know how bad my opinions are. Obviously, especially that Netherlands one and probably this Croatia one as well. And can't wait for the World Cup tomorrow.